What's up, beautiful people? I hope everybody is doing well out there. Today is May 3rd. And real quick, I want to say happy birthday to my sister, Crystal. Turns 41 today. Man, we are in very interesting times. This is the weekly energy report. I hope y'all are doing well. And big energy is going on right now, as I'm sure you can feel. We have, today is the exact square between the sun and Saturn, and just so happens that the moon is transiting and conjuncting Saturn today too. So, what's up, girl? How you doing? I need to give you a call, Kirsten. So I'll actually call you after I'm done with this live. Okay. With the moon transiting Saturn while it's square exactly to the sun, man, it is sort of the next phase of this energy that we felt with the sun square to Uranus, and it's still right there together, and there's some very deep lessons and identifications of control dynamics that are coming up. So if you're trying to control things, you're going to really feel the pressure of that control dynamic, because it's an unhealthy control dynamic. It's trying to control things outside of us. And the sun conjunct Uranus was opening us up to this next level of awareness and understanding, and that essentially comes down to opening up the heart, right? Because the heart, when we open up the heart, opens everything else, and the heart is where we really grow. So do your best to really be honest with what you're trying to control. I know I'm learning some big lessons to control myself with the Capricorn sun and an Aries rising. I have some pretty powerful control dynamics, but those control dynamics on a certain level, they help us move through, right? They protect us, and they also guide us in certain ways. But we have to have that balance, that yin and yang, right? We're going to find that center point, and we're going to be getting sort of like when the sun was conjunct to Uranus. And during the full moon, when we had all that energy talking to Saturn and Uranus and the sun and Venus and Mercury, all of them all together in this very fixed energy, it's really it's coming down like like a heavy weight on our heart. And this square from Saturn to the sun is giving us an understanding about that pressure, so that we can navigate it and sort of trim the fat and understand and be honest with ourselves about what is holding us back and what is helping us grow. Okay, so be aware of that. But good news is we have a couple significant things going on this week that are going to change things quite significantly. Tomorrow we have the moon that's going to be conjuncting Jupiter, and Jupiter is going to be moving into 29 degrees of Aquarius, and the next week it'll be moving into Pisces, which is going to really be a bit of a game changer because it loves being in that energy, right? And then we also have Mercury tomorrow moving into Gemini, and it's a home sign. So Mercury is very strong. Now, that strength can be extra stubbornness, or that strength can be deeper understanding of that stubbornnness, of that control dynamic that we have, and letting it go and letting it teach us that lesson to grow. And then also later on the week, we're gonna be having Venus transiting into Gemini. Venus is strong, because it rules Taurus. So Venus is very strong in Taurus, but I feel that going into more of this mutable energy is going to give us the ability and the sort of release. Like it's like the fixed energy has our foot on the gas, like 100%, but it's like foot on the gas, burning rubber. It's not going anywhere, right? So communication problems, it's more communication with ourselves that is the problem, because it's so fixed and it's so stubborn, like stuck in our ways, right? So going into Gemini, because it's a mutable energy and it's going to be transiting the North Node come pretty soon. But we also have to remember too that Gemini is going to be going retrograde. Mercury is going to be going retrograde in Gemini in its home sign. So we're going to be coming into shadow, next week, and this is going to teach us, some pretty hefty messages, especially because it's going to be transiting the North Node. And then, of course, the sun's going to transit the North Node, and then the sun and Mercury are going to Cassini, and that's going to be a lot of epiphanies, a lot of insights, and a lot of understanding the steps needed to take to move into the future. So if you've been feeling stuck, if you've been feeling frustrated, if you've been feeling lost, trust that the answers and the clarity are coming. And with that, the impetus or the willpower to be able to move through it and really see and understand how these next steps are going to influence, what's coming next. And of course, this is this is coming right before eclipse season. So this is saying, like, look, this is up until this point, this is how you've been holding yourself back, and this is where you've been lying to yourself. So things are about to change, and you can either choose to stay confused or stuck or stubborn or trying to control these things that are not meant to be controlled, and or you can choose to grow and shift into the unknown and allow that heart to open and break free from these shackles that have been on for quite some time. The last time that we had the North Node in Gemini, South Node in Sagittarius was 2012, right? So we're literally coming back to experiences that happened back then, and revisiting, relooking. It's like I'm seeing this pattern where, before the last nodal transit between Gemini and Sagittarius, was, right around the time where, the Mayan calendar entered, and, we went through, I know for me, I went through my first phase of the dark night of the soul. So, this is really ending a chapter and bringing us into this new chapter that's closing out like a 12-year cycle, but also it's the beginning of this 20-year cycle with the Saturn and Jupiter conjunction at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So we're really having to step into the unknown here, and with the fixed energy now starting to release and like sort of break up and break off, giving us the energy and the impetus to step forward into our future. So we really have to be patient with ourselves and be patient with life, right? It's almost like saying, like, we have all these new things that we want to do, we want to move through, but the universe is saying, okay, not yet. All right. Because we've had these stelliums in Aries, now in Taurus, and now going into Gemini, this is the process, right? The cardinal energy what makes us want to act, react, step into, take action on. And then, all that powerful energy goes into Taurus while it's all squaring over to Saturn, which is also in a fixed sign of air. We're in our head about it. We're overthinking, we're seeing that there's more to be and there's more to do, but we're not really sure where it's going or where we're really wanting to go in some ways. And this mutable energy is going to start to shift all of that until it comes into this next layer of the Cancer season, which is cardinal energy, which is going to bring up more like, the next layer of how to set this new foundation in this process of going forward. Okay, so we're also going to be having Mars coming into its sextile with Uranus tomorrow. It's going to become exact later on in the week, but this is really, really good because, Mars is also square to Chiron. So with it starting to sextile to Uranus, this is again giving us the ability and allowance, if you will, to step into that vulnerability and grow through and break free from the shackles that have binded us, right? Bound us, bind us, whatever, you guys get it, right? And we're going to be having a yod coming up here pretty soon too. But, Mercury is flying, but it's going to start slowing down. All right. So whatever we're going to see here in this next couple of weeks with communication, you can expect to need to go through it, a couple times. So this Mars and Uranus aspect is really, really great. And then we also have, right now, we have Venus exactly trining over to Pluto retrograde. Pluto's still not really moving, really, right? Yeah, that vulnerable Mars position is pretty powerful, and that's redefining our divine masculine, right? So as we're having this difficult energy, it's like giving us the same amount of positive energy so that we don't get stuck in that difficulty. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to be difficult. Like, we are in incredibly potent growth-oriented times, people. So if you have a lot of fixed energy in your chart, this is going to be really difficult for you because, fixed signs like to keep things fixed, right? Like to keep things solid. And if you have a lot of cardinal energy too, this is like, we need to be patient. If you have a lot of mutable energy, well, you're lucky because this is actually going to be pretty easy times for you. So, good work. So either way, there's a different approach or a different access point where we have to enter this vulnerability with Chiron, right? And it's and the vulnerability is about stepping in to our true beliefs, our true hearts, passions, desires, and wants. Maybe, and this is going to bring up, am I good enough? Like, can I do this? Should I do this? Am I just going to be, hurting myself or beating myself up for wanting to grow, wanting more in life? And of course, we all want more in life, right? But in order to really step into that having more, with opening the heart, it comes with responsibility to the self, right? Exactly. But the feeling of destination right now is very powerful, and especially with these personal planets starting to conjunct the North Node, this is really feeling this deep, deep desire to step into this new journey. So, and that's the control dynamic, right? Wanting to control the outcome, wanting to know where we're going. Like, I know something's more, but I need to, it's almost like you kind of, well, I need to know how to structure it. I need to know, how I'm going to make money. I need to know how I'm going to build this business. I need to know how to, really become, open more to this relationship. I need to know how to step out and talk to people, but I have social anxiety. All these things, right, are about getting uncomfortable. And when we go into it one little step at a time, it may still feel very, very uncomfortable, right? But we need to speak our truth. As our heart's speaking to us, like we're vulnerable, like, are we really around people or situations or things that are going to make us, okay to feel vulnerable? But say, like, you have to say something that to someone that, you have to suck up your pride and your ego, like, you know what, you're right. And, but when I admit that I'm right, I have to be open to them not receiving it. And that fear is, fear of rejection, fear of failure, even fear of success, fear of love, and we're all having this certain experience in our life that is testing us to the max, right? So that stuck feeling, we really have to, like, if you're feeling stuck, it's what are you lying to yourself about? What are you not telling yourself, right? And that can be tough, especially because of all this fixed cerebral energy. The left brain is just going batshit crazy right now, trying to figure it all out. And we may not even realize the depth of the self-sabotaging or wounded child, layer in there, because we're digging up new levels of it, new layers of it, past life shit, guys. This is ancestral healing we have going on. And the more sensitive you are, like that ancestral healing, like, you're doing work for so much more than what anybody could ever realize. And you might feel alone going through this, but I'll tell you what, you're not alone. Okay. Even if it feels that way, this is where becoming too much of a hermit, not the greatest idea. All right. We want to be able to be in that vulnerability out in places or things where it activates these feelings of, not worthy, or, afraid to feel, or afraid to just be hurt on a deeper level. But when we don't take things personally, then there is no hurt. It's only when we take things personal that things feel like we're being attacked, right? But really, everybody is in their own shit. Everybody is going through their own stuff. And we have to, allow ourselves to step into that realization that nobody is saying or doing anything personal. It's our own, from our childhood wounds, right? Usually it's always it comes down to, how did our mother treat us, and how did our father treat us, and how did we feel about that, and how did how did that set the conditioning for our lives? So a lot of childhood stuff coming up, and Uranus is the great awakener, right? And it's in some very intense aspects. Uranus and Saturn are like the same strength in the houses that they're at, right? So it's like this equal amount of pull and force, but this pull, this pressure, this dynamic, because it's so equally powerful on both sides, is fighting it on either side, or pressing up against it too much. This is just, it's almost like you really have no choice but to surrender. Okay. And then once you do get a taste of that surrender, and it's like a pressure release valve, and that pressure release valve is like, oh my God, finally. But then we still have to, step into that vulnerability each level, each way, a little bit more every time. And that little bit more is gonna it's going to be difficult, probably more difficult with each step. However, we gain more strength. So this is making us very, very strong. All right, which is, we need to be strong because this next chapter is going to require, new level, new devil, and new levels of responsibility. All right, now on May 7th, we have a yod, and this yod's learning lesson is pointing to the south nodes. It's about letting go, and its sextile is between Mars and Uranus. So this is all about, a really uncomfortable part of our divine masculine, toxic masculinity that needs to go and bring awareness to our values, our morals, our ethics, the way, like what we deserve, what we want in life, where, how we think we're going to get it. And it just so happens on this day, we have the moon that is going to be conjuncting over to Chiron. And this Chiron is still, it's coming into its we have Mars at 8 degrees, and still have, about a week or so until Mars is going to be exactly square to Chiron. So this is still building up, right? And as it's building up with this yod, it's saying you have to let go of maybe expectations, beliefs that you don't deserve it, like ideas, like maybe you have this vision in your mind of exactly what a ultimate job is supposed to feel like or be like, or where a relationship is supposed to be. Are you looking for perfection? Are you always trying to find the problems in something where there are none? Are you creating issues, or are you convincing yourself that you deserve better when really you could have better if you just shifted your perspective on it and allowed yourself to be more vulnerable? Because really, if you want more, right, like you have to deserve that you want more, and that is still going back to doing the work. So it all circles back around to doing the inner work with yourself. And I mean, if it's too much, then it's too much. You got to make some kind of move to move through that in a different way. But, have integrity with what your heart is feeling. So if you need to take that time alone, or take some downtime, or go, take a weekend retreat and just chill, then you do that. Okay. Don't try to force yourself to feel or be or experience anything in a certain way, because that's most likely going to backfire on you and just make things harder. All right. And shit's already hard enough. We don't need shit to be hard. And this yod's going to be lasting like 4 days, 5 days. It's going to be actually fun. Okay. So this yod is going to still be happening when the moon conjuncts Uranus again. So we're having multiple aspects, and then that is on May 10th. So basically, like the end of the week to the beginning of next week, is going to be sitting in this letting go, releasing, opening up, being vulnerable, growing into a deeper level of heart space, processing, and stepping into, like, Mars in Cancer is all about, this is what I want in my home. I want to feel at home in my body, in my life. And, I want to set down roots. I want foundation. I want stability. I want security. But at the same time, we want to have stability in a new place, right? So that's what, because typically stability comes in the place we are at, but we're not supposed to be where we're at right now, right? Weekend retreat. Hell yeah, weekend retreat is a great idea with all this immense shifting, changing energy going on. Aloha, what's up, guys? Thank you guys for tuning in. I love and appreciate you all. So this week is going to be, thank God we have Saturn exactly square the sun now, because that's going to shift. And then we also have Jupiter at 29 degrees of Aquarius pretty much this whole week. Next week, it'll be going to Pisces. So 29 degrees of Aquarius, of course, Aquarian energy times 10. So this is where, like, we're really getting this, really, like, let's go. And then when Jupiter shifts into Pisces, it's going to be like, that's mutable energy, right? So it's dipping in from that fixed to mutable energy so that we can evolve and actually grow into that. And Jupiter loves being in Pisces, right? And with it being in the same sign of Neptune, our intuitive hits and guidance are going to be over time, like super, super powerful, right? Time for a big move. Exactly. This is the time to make the move that you want to make for your life, right? This, especially like as we're coming into eclipse season, shit's going to be happening anyways, and a lot of things that you probably don't expect. So this is a lot, this Uranus energy is definitely expect the unexpected, and go with the flow on that expectation, because an expectation of something that's not expected is still a control dynamic, right? But we all have expectations. It's our natural tendency, unless you're a Buddhist monk, like everybody I know, like you need to have your hands out in your reality because life is moving. Life is always growing and progressing, right? So finding that fine line, that like happy medium where we're able to navigate it but not get attached to any certain outcome. But it's so unsure right now that literally our whole lives are being uprooted into something different, something new, that you naturally want to try to figure it out and and allow it to teach and guide us. All right. And of course, we still have Black Moon Lilith hanging around Uranus and even the Sun. So with the Black Moon Lilith, highly heightened sexuality is still on the docket. I mean, it's going to be pretty much all year because next month in June, while we're in what we just started eclipse season, we're going to have the second of three Saturn square Uranus exact. So this is going to kick up that Scorpio full moon energy and the Sun conjunct Uranus energy and the Sun square. So all these energies are going to be activated over and over and over and over again. And this time Saturn is going to be a retrograde next month, and it's just going retrograde just before that. So it's going to be very powerful. So this is going within in the Aquarian energy, which is looking like now we've made another big leap. And now the growth-oriented energy is dominating and sort of more dynamic. And now we're resettling ourselves into whatever it is that we decided to move on, right? And that's going to be like sort of in the middle of resetting or reformulating this new chapter. And then December of this year is, of course, when we're going to have the final one, right around the same time that Jupiter goes into Pisces again. So this is all, guys, this is so perfectly divinely orchestrated. It blows my mind when I look at this, right? Like the universe is lifting us up right now, even against our own will, so to speak, because our will is sort of going through a collective ego death with this Uranus square Saturn. And it ain't easy, but if it was easy, everybody would do it. And of course, not everybody is experiencing this, right? Like it's the people that are empathic. But I will tell you what, that last week, this week, and actually throughout the next few weeks, this is another big period of time we're going to be seeing a lot of people wake up and a lot of weird shit happening in the world too. All right, this is where things are going to get really, really dynamically separated and different, right? We're seeing these states and these different bodies of people are starting to really solidify. Like you look at California, and they're all locked down, and they're still like putting on more restrictions. And then you look at Florida. Florida's opened up, and it looks like a paradise over there, right? At least in my opinion, because I like freedom, right? So this is where people are going to start migrating, because it's almost like a collective, like a groupthink is going around depending on where you live. Because if the restrictions are all crazy where you live, you're going to be around all these people there's a lot more people that are following it, right? Like following this narrative. But you go down to Florida, everybody's free, nobody cares, and everybody's fine and healthy and doing good. So the whole group think dynamic is going to be completely different. And this is where people that have a opposing view to the masses are they're gonna start moving. That's why we're seeing this mass migration. People are moving to where they feel safe, right? That's Saturn energy. But you have to move, growth and new chapter, so that's a Uranus energy. So a lot of this is relocating, is really getting more defined in what you want and what you want your reality to be like. And right now we have to kind of pick and choose where we're going to do that, because it's not the same everywhere anymore at all, right? Wow, Bill and Melinda Gates got divorced. That's kind of interesting. Or is it? I don't know. That's probably just some kind of publicity stunt or something like that. I don't pay attention to any of that stuff anymore, because it's just like the whole agenda behind the scenes it's just so obvious and so ridiculous that I don't want to hear any of your other stuff either. It's like no thanks, right? You know what I'm saying? So guys, with Mars in Cancer preceding Mercury, Venus, and the Sun coming in there in a couple months, this is giving us a prequel too to seeing really like what we're going to be we're planning things energetically right now, and then it takes a few months for it to come into our conscious reality. So, you know, we have to allow these things to unfold without trying to push too much into that cardinal energy, right? And without getting too stubborn or fixated or attached. You know, that stubborn energy is also all about attachment, and we can go into that too, and that's just as kind of productive, right? So he's asking for privacy. Yeah, probably, no kidding. Um, and Pluto is like finally starting to creep into retrograde. As Pluto starts to move, that energy is going to get less intense. Hallelujah. But then we're going to have Saturn intensity, and then the Jupiter intensity is just, you know, never really a bad thing. We do have what we have here. Jupiter is squaring over to Mercury and then Venus as well. So Jupiter, I mean, every aspect with Jupiter, not necessarily a bad thing, but it does make things very big or very pronounced. So if there's something we're struggling with, it's going to get bigger and stronger, especially at 29 degrees of Aquarius, and with it squaring over to Venus and Mercury. I mean, Mercury, you know, is all about communication, and then Venus is what do we really want, and are we really being honest with ourselves? Like all these same fundamental questions about life, because we're all feeling like we're moving into a new life, and we are really, right? We're moving into wherever it is we're choosing to. Remember, we have free will. We have the choice. We just have to make sure that we're not making permanent choices based on fear or on damaged experiences from the past. This is our opportunity to heal all those things, so that as we're making these decisions, especially right now, this is like, what do you really want, and how much work are you willing to do on yourself? This is giving us an opportunity to grow, but even with the sheer amount of work that, you know, we're all able to do, it's still testing us at our very core. So this is soul strength. This is soul work, right? And the soul work is, you know, it's on another level. So everybody has their own way of being able to approach it, to deal with it. If you guys would like to understand how the energy speaks in your body, all right, I have a free ebook on my website. You just put your information in there and it'll download to your device. It's called Decrypting the Language of the Human Body. It's just like 35 pages, but it has a lot of really good information. If you're feeling body aches and pains, or you want to know where these like survival archetypes are in our consciousness that really sabotage our lives, like, and understand it, to how to observe the triggers that come up and then how to process them, please feel free to download my free ebook. And I would love to get you guys feedback on what you think of it. All right. So, so shifting and changing, going into Gemini, we're releasing the hold, so to speak, on this fixed energy, and now coming into the next deeper lesson of creating this new foundation, moving through and forward into the next layer of our vulnerability, the next layer of a responsibility, of leadership. Really, this is all about, you know, are we the leader of our life? Are we the main character in our own movie, or are we being, you know, like a co-star or the antagonist in somebody else's movie? That's what you really have to do. Yes, the link for my website is in my bio. All right, thank you for asking that. Yeah, so let me think. That's pretty much what I got for you. We have, you know, the sun's going to be still traveling through Taurus, but now it's like moving away from Uranus, so it's going to start to stabilize from this massive growth going on. On the 6th, we have the sun conjuncting Neptune, which is going to be a super intuitive day. So really, just the hits just keep coming, man. We're just bubbling, just like I said in my other video last week. You know, we have these epiphanies, these intuitive insights. They come up like bubbles, you know, when we're snorkeling, and, blah, 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 and these bubbles are just coming up random, and they're coming up faster. And it's like we're raising up from under the water faster, but we have to make sure that we're checking our oxygen. We can't come up too fast, or, you know, we'll sabotage ourselves, right? So this is where, like, control in the sense of navigating and being able to sit in the shit, to be able to really fully process it, not run away from it. That slowness is very difficult for cardinal energies, because cardinal, they feel it and they react to it, right? Like, okay, let's go. Like, now I know what to do. All right, let's move forward. All right, they always want to be running forward. But this Taurus energy is saying, no, you gotta chill. You got to say it's coming, but in divine timing. And this is where it's just saying, trust and have faith that you're going to get the clarity. You're going to get the answers when you need, and to follow these decisions that could be life-changing, right? So, you know, trust the process. Yeah. Well, I'm not censored right now. but I begin some warnings from people saying that they're going to deplatform me. So, if I do, that's why I do all my daily energy reports now on my website. So you can go there and join the opportunity community and catch me there if you want to see a lot more of my stuff. All right, just throwing it out there. So thank you guys for tuning in. I think this is where I'm gonna leave you guys with this energy, because I just kind of keep getting the same messages over and over again. So love and light to you guys, and have a beautiful, amazing week. If you'd like a reading from me, please go to spiritualbodybuilder.com, and the link is in my bio, so you can get everything there. And let's work together. I'd love to work with you, connect with you, and yeah, help you out. All right, you guys have a beautiful week, and I will see you on the next report. I hope.